1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. Having Ceres in Aquarius or in the 11th house. So I have it in Aquarius, so I could relate to this. So having it in Aquarius or the 11th house says that you will nurture others to be an outcast. And you guys might notice that in all my videos, in the sense that I encourage rocking the boat. I encourage rebelling, because Aquarian energy is all about rebelling. And maybe you encourage others to rebel and others to stand out and rock the boat because maybe as a kid you felt overlooked, because Aquarian energy is the kind of energy that is overlooked, because Aquarian energy is opposite from Leo energy, and the sun sits in Leo. So if the sun is sitting in Leo on one side of the chart, that's leaving the other side of the chart in complete darkness, where Aquarian energy is. So being in complete darkness, you are used to being overlooked. You're used to being unseen. And in the process of being overlooked and unseen, I feel like the good that comes from that is that you're used to doing whatever you want to do according to your own terms, because it's like no one's looking anyways. Opposed to if you're in a position like, say, the 10th house, where you're standing at the top of the mountain where everyone can see you, it's like you have to conduct yourself a certain way in order to fit society's norms. But if you're in the 11th house and the sun is in the house and your side is in complete darkness, it's like no one's looking over there anyway. So that might mean as a child you felt overlooked or invisible. Like basically your parents probably noticed you whenever you were probably doing something that you weren't supposed to be doing, or chances are rocking the boat. Rocking the boat in the sense that maybe you were the rebel or the outcast in your family, where you were the one that disrupted order and spoke your truth. And a lot of the times, people won't like your truth if it's calling out something that they're doing that they don't want anyone else knowing. So say growing up in your household, you were the black sheep. You're the one that disrupted order and you called other people's bullshit. And because you called bullshit, basically you got used to being the black sheep, you got used to being the outcast. So in the process of you being used to being the outcast in your household, you will encourage your children to be the outcast and the black sheep and be okay with it. You'll realize that most of the times people will only agree with you when it fits their own agendas, and even if that agenda is negative. So you'll encourage your child to speak their truth, to stand out and yell their truth, even if their voice hurts. And also teach them the importance of being comfortable with being the odd man. I used to always say to my brother, my youngest brother, that you should be okay with fighting a battle on your own, in the sense that for me, I'm okay if I'm in a room full of people and everyone disagrees with me. And I guess that comes from maybe, probably me perceiving certain things in my household growing up. So say in my household growing up, I'm okay with everyone in the family seeing things totally different from me, where I'm okay with it. But in a way, it kind of hurts a little, because as human, we're social creatures and we want to be able to, basically unify. But at the same time, I prefer to stand up and speak my truth and be the oddball than to be like everyone else, if it means basically me neglecting myself. If it means me betraying myself, I'm not going to betray myself in order to go with the flow of everyone else. And when we talk about going with the flow, having Uranus in Aquarius, you don't go with the flow. You basically do the opposite of the flow. And it could be challenging because, you know, Uranus energy is all about like rebelling. So you might swim upstream instead of going with the flow. And I'm learning that, you know, basically it's good to rebel only when I'm rebelling for a cause. It's not always good to rebel for the sake of rebelling. And I feel like Aquarian energy that's immature will rebel for the sake of rebelling. When it comes to like nourishing yourself, nurturing yourself and others, you will encourage other people to be unique and different. And I find that I nurture myself by embracing my differences. Like when I was younger, of course, like I have, you know, strong Virgo energy in my chart. And with Virgo being the virgin basically wants to be perfect, and perfection is comparing something to something else. You know, you have to be comparing something to something else to know that it's perfect. So, you know, I wanted to be everything to be perfect, but at the same time, you know, I like to be different. So there was that opposition, that push and pull within me. And as I mature, I embrace my differences. Like I love being different to the point that, you know, it's kind of silly where it's like, if someone has the same thing as I do, like I'll kind of feel like I don't feel special anymore because, you know, I've embraced my differences so much, you know, but like I'm maturing, so I'm okay with others being similar and whatnot, but I'm grateful that I've come to the point that I've embraced my differences, embrace my shadow side, because Aquarian energy also talks about our shadow side. So yeah, when it comes to you like nurturing yourself after a breakup or a tough time or something like that, you're gonna focus on your differences and feel good about yourself because you're different. You're gonna feel good about yourself because you didn't go with the flow, because the flow wasn't working for you. When it comes to your appearance and the kind of clothing that you like, you know, you're gonna like things that are different. Like I mentioned, you're going to like to be a little bit different from everyone else. Something that I find with myself that is super annoying is that basically, because I rebel when it comes to a lot, I'll get into trends when they're no longer a trend, when they're super old. And it's because like now that everyone isn't wearing it, I'm able to see it better, if that makes sense. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. But now it's like outdated, but I like it. When, you know, when it was in style, I didn't like it because of my need to rebel. Like I couldn't see it for what it is because everyone was wearing the same thing or had the same thing. So it was almost like a uniform to me, you know? So being a parent, you're going to, like I mentioned, encourage your child to be different. You're going to encourage them to stand against the grain and be okay with that. You're gonna also encourage innovation. So for me with this placement, like I feel a special connection to like outcasts. And, you know, like I like to consider, you know, Aquarian energy and those who are strongly connected with it, beautiful weirdos. Like I say beautiful weirdos because like, you know, we don't go with the flow of everyone else, not easily conditioned and told what it is. And a lot of the times, like in the media and with what's going on right now, you could just smell bullshit. You can spot bullshit easily, but you can't always explain that to other people because they can't see it. You know, they don't understand it. Another way how you nurture yourself is by detaching. So say, for example, you had a parent that overlooked you, and because your parent constantly overlooked you, after a while, to get it to not hurt, you yourself detach. You detach from everything that you would consider valuable, because if it's almost like saying the warrior or the gangster who don't have any family members, so because, or anyone that they love. So it's like, as long as the warrior, the gangster in the movie don't have anyone that they love, you can't hurt them unless you get a hold of them and hurt them. But hurting them isn't anything, because the best way to really hurt them is to basically grab a hold of something that matters. So with Aquarian energy, it's like you like to detach from everything that matters, because if nothing matters, nothing has control over you, so nothing can hurt and no one can hurt you. So a way of nurturing yourself might be completely detaching. And you know, you might encourage your kids. Like for me personally, I know that if I have kids, I'm going to encourage them and raise them in a way that when I die, they're not like, yes, they're gonna miss me, but then I'm gonna encourage them and teach them that even though I'm not physically here, I'm still here. But basically help them to detach from my physical, so when I'm no longer here, it doesn't ruin the rest of their human existence. So it's almost like teaching them healthy detachment. So with this placement, like, yeah, you might find that the way how you nurture yourself and nurture others is by encouraging detachment, encouraging detaching, and not allowing other things or people to have power over you. And another thing too, when it comes to this placement, when it comes to foods that you might eat, you might find that when it comes to your eating goes from one extreme to the next, and very innovative in the sense that maybe when you're cooking, you are able to create something out of nothing. Or when it comes to your diet, like you might go from one extreme to the next, meaning like you might wake up and you might start off with some fruit for breakfast, and then before you know it, you're having cookies. Or you might wake up and have cookies for breakfast and then end the day with a salad or whatever. It's like basically your consumption goes from one extreme to the next. It is very untraditional, the foods that you eat, the clothes that you wear, and the way that you live your life. And you encourage that untraditional, unorthodox way of being. And you develop that from, you know, your caregiver. Maybe they were very inconsistent when it comes to nurturing you, so it caused inconsistency with you when it comes to nurturing. And when it comes to, like, say, being a parent, you might find that you probably don't want to be a parent because the idea of being responsible for another human being, you might take it so seriously to the point that you know it's not something you can detach away from and just be free on your way. So you might find that that's not something that you want for yourself, because it won't allow you to be free as you would like. And if you do decide to be a parent, your approach and your parenting style is going to be completely different. Like, say for myself, like myself personally, like if I was a parent, I could see me having a nanny, but my nanny's job is not, like, my nanny doesn't change my kid's diaper or feed my kid. My nanny is just, say, someone that would be pushing my kid in the stroller while I'm doing what I'm doing. But my nanny is with me and my kid is always with me. But my nanny's job is to, like, hold or push my kid in the stroller or play with them when I'm not able to, but I'm the one doing the feeding. I'm the one changing the diaper. But, you know, so that's like a different way of being, where most people might leave the kid at home with the nanny, where the kid won't be at home. The kid will be with me with the nanny. So that's an example of like an unorthodox way of being. But you guys, I could go on forever. I'm looking and it's like over 12 minutes. So I'm trying to keep these short. If you are still here with me, please drop me a purple heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.